An Israeli soldier was killed and 7 others were injured in the resistance ambush in North Gaza. Now, this confirmation came from Israel. It didn't just come from the Palestinian side. As a matter of fact, there were a couple of headlines in Israel, such as this one in Ynet saying, second deadly incident in a week in the Gaza buffer zone, tank driver killed by sniper fire. But in Israel, they're not really giving you the whole picture. However, we had some information coming from the fields, according to some reports, and news from the northern part of Gaza. So firstly, this ambush, again, Israel is confirming that 1 was killed and 7 were wounded. The ambush that happened several days back, and we spoke about it at the time. Again, Israel confirmed that 1 was killed and 4 were, well, amputated. And then I posted the video of the IDF soldiers who were amputated, and they got a lot of sympathy. They got a lot of sympathy and a lot of comments. You can go ahead to my community tab and check that sympathy that came to them. And also, Israel didn't really declare too much after that. Now, there are a couple of things to learn from what happened today in this ambush. The first thing is that this ambush is happening technically behind enemy lines. Why? Because it's happening in the buffer zone. It's happening in the area that Israel never withdrew from, even during the ceasefire. Israel always had a presence there. As a matter of fact, Israel considered this buffer zone, which is towards the edges of the Gaza Strip, close to the 1948 occupied territories, 500 to 700 meters, even during the ceasefire that took place, that Israel, of course, broke. They were always present there, to a level where Israel actually declared this place relatively safe. And when I mean relatively safe, as if it's not like fully safe, but they had less security measures being taken against anyone going to these areas. For example, well, if they had trucks or any sort of vehicles, machinery that they needed to operate inside of the Gaza Strip to destroy buildings, get rubble, whatever it is that they want to do, they can go through that route. They can go through that route of the buffer zone. Now, if Israel is considering that area to be, well, relatively secure, and they have vehicles going in there that are not secure and not heavily equipped, not protected to the relevant level, that means Israel's comfortable there, and that's kind of like going into Israeli territories. So the Israelis are comfortable that the Palestinians are not gonna reach that area, and Israel is saying that, okay, we're going into the central parts of Gaza, and they are going into certain parts of the Gaza Strip, still facing fierce resistance, but they're also facing this resistance now in the areas that they are considering to be protected, that they use to supply and to arm and to transport. This is meaning that, well, number one, it's similar to the Palestinian resistance having an attack inside of an Israeli territory. Then the resistance of Gaza is present in all areas inside of the Gaza Strip and is conducting strategic attacks against the Israeli terror forces wherever they are inside of the Gaza Strip. No differentiation whatsoever. Wherever there's a child-killing terrorist, they're there. And Israel, of course, their response is to go and butcher children. We've had several massacres today. In one of them, they bombed a building with whole families inside of it. In one of those attacks, the children in that family flew to another building because of the intensity of the bombing. The father was killed. 5 sisters were killed, children. One of the girls was chopped in half. And there was a child waving with this famous picture that I posted on X. Unbelievable, I'm telling you. And the world is silent. As in, you know, those who can actually do something. Most of them are silent. Thankfully, the people are talking, and there are couple of leaders here and there, but that's about it. Starvation, massacres, infanticide, genocide, scholasticide, any urbanicide, whatever you want to call it. Combined, by the way, a combination of all of that. And it's as if, yeah, nothing's happening. The denial, genocide deniers. You know, tomorrow all of these statements are going to be very important. Genocide deniers, ex-Zionists, things like that. They're going to be very important in the future. Now, what does that also mean? That means this attack in particular in the buffer zone means that Israel is unable to secure its own borders. Israel is unable to secure its own borders. 18 months into a genocide, Israel is unable to secure its borders from the Palestinian resistance attacks. That says a lot. That says plenty. And I think this is showing you how much the Palestinian resistance can never be defeated. They're sitting there talking about eliminating Hamas and eliminating the resistance. In your dreams. In your dreams. Hamas submitting and the Palestinian resistance. In your dream. Never going to happen. Never. They're having to withdraw some untrained soldiers. They're so desperate. Their IDF is in such a big crisis, or ITF, or the diaper army, whatever you want to call them. They're in such a desperate state that they're sending untrained people to go and fight inside of the Gaza Strip. Untrained people to go and fight to a level, and we spoke about this yesterday, families of these IDF soldiers were telling the army, there is no way my son is going to fight or daughter is going to fight without adequate training. Now, the argument is, well, no one's trained on an urbanicide. There is no urban warfare. There's destruction warfare. But despite the people not being trained, sending people who haven't even finished their basic training for the Israeli, that shows you a very desperate state and an army in havoc, a state of total havoc. Now, this means that despite all of the Israeli talk about the annexation of Gaza, controlling more territories and eliminating the resistance, the truth as it's being revealed from the ground every single day in the Gaza Strip is very far from this. It's showing you a resistance that is solid and a resistance that is taking action behind enemy lines in areas that Israel considers to be more secure, and Israel is getting a very large number of casualties. This is in relation to the attack in Gaza and the military analysis of it, and there will be, of course, more implications. Now, with these implications, the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu would delay lots of this implication, and Israel does, to a very large extent, censor what's happening on the ground. So this report, for example, that I spoke about coming from Israel, about the second lethal attack in a week, yes, it indeed happened, however, following very heavy censorship. So Israel had censorship for hours. There were many helicopters seen leaving the area, evacuating. But then they decided that this is what they're going to publish. And if we judge that based on what the IDF generally publishes, as in public information, sometimes it's tenfold from what they actually reveal.